I could sit there and have a full argument with myself if I chose to, but he will not engage. Just like Mr. Let Go said, he believes, what's the point of going back and forth with a woman? We're not on the same level. There's no need, like, whatever I say is not going to really affect him anyway. So the whole, like, what I think Lady Di was asking, like, what's the difference between, like, standing up for yourself and being sassy? I could argue text messaging. Text messaging, if a man is going back and forth with you in text and he's just like, you guys already, talked about something, and he just keeps going back to it and back to it, won't let it go. And then he brings up, well, I feel like, and I just think that, and you could call this communication, but this type of communication is no longer communication. It is venting. It is a man bringing himself on the same level as a woman, essentially. And this is where I believe we can call sassy, because it's feminine behavior, because sassy is not a masculine attribute, it's feminine. So I believe it's a man arguing in a feminine way would make him sassy.
So basically it's a reversal. It's okay, so a woman is not submissive and she keeps going at the man when he's saying, hey, look, I said what I said and I want to move on. She keeps provoking and poking the bear, and when he responds, she and then return him saying you're sassy.
You kick her out.
Sassy is the queen.
Don't deal with her.
Sassy is reserved for the LGBT community. When you see men argue with women,
what?
They're gay.
Really?
Yeah.
I do think. I mean, with Lucky's point, I don't think men. I mean, men don't generally use the word sassy.
Men don't argue.
That was a term used for young girls.
Men don't argue.
Respectful or talking crazy or doing too much to the women, and it's usually a word a women use to insult a man who may be communicative.
Because it's an insulting term. It's sassy is something. When you see a man going back and forth like he can fight a woman, and he's getting all into it, you're now acting feminine. They say in this space a lot it's masculine, but no, it's feminine. It's different. Women argue. You ever seen how long it takes for women to fight? They argue. Men don't argue with each other. It's say a few words. If I got to get to that level, it's already a fight. So if I'm sitting here going back and forth with a woman, it's because she doesn't respect you, and now you're trying to get her to respect you usually, but she's not going to respect the man that is going back and forth being catty with her. So that's why it's an argument.
I don't think that arguing is sassy at all. I think that people get into disagreements and they argue because men are passionate. I find this conversation to be hypocritical because, and the reason why I believe it's hypocritical is because then we want to have a different conversation on different panels, and on these panels on different weeks in which we say about, don't invalidate men's feelings and all of this other type of stuff. But then we want to say when a man is passionate about something, in a lot of instances, they want to label it as feminine. And that's wild to me. Because I think that every single person on this earth has emotions. Your ability to be able to control your emotions is what separates you as from being a boy or a man. However, a guy that's debating or passionate or arguing or going back and forth or whatever, I don't think that that's sassy. Now, I do agree with Lucki in that is reserved for the LGBTQ or however many alphabet letters that they want to steal in that alphabet. But the other side of the equation, and why it's also hypocritical for us as a people to also say that that's not a man, is because then we say that we're not going to invalidate that this guy is a man, but then y'all gonna be their best friends, right? Y'all gonna keep them around y'all support them, y'all gonna buy their albums, y'all gonna say no voting, no bucking, or whatever the fuck that song is, and all of this other type of stuff. And so they support it and they'll defend it. They'll support it and defend it, but then they'll say that that's not the type of guy that we want, but this is the type of stuff that we advocating for, and this is what we raising our sons to be. And so I think that it's very, very hypocritical to label something and then say that we don't necessarily want it, but we support it and we advocating for it more than we are. But then when we say masculinity, we want to put toxic in front of it whenever we talking about a man. Y'all got to pick one. Either you don't like it or you do like it. Either you not rocking with it or you supporting it. Either you don't support it all the way, or you gonna make these dudes be your best friends and then try to get them to get some Fenty Savage and all of this other bullshit or whatever y'all talking about. My point is that I think that just us as a community And I'm not even just talking about black people. I'm talking about a community of people that come together to then determine what it is that our kids are going to be subjected to when we get older. I think we just hypocritical, and we living in a world in which we want to put labels on stuff, but we don't want to actually advocate for the thing that we really believe in by living it. And it's just hypocritical in general. You can't say that that's a deal breaker for me as a woman, but then half the fucking time y'all listening to the very music and y'all have best friends that's sassy as fuck. It's nonsense.
My thing is, like, I agree with that. But my thing is, like, with this sassy stuff, most of the time men are just talking. The only person that's arguing is a woman, because that's the one that's getting emotional and responding emotionally. So I'm saying I don't believe a man should like respond emotionally like a woman. Then that will be, I guess, that way in the sassy term. I think that the man should still hold their ground and have a conversation. Because if not, it's just letting the woman just be who she is, right? And sometimes being who she is not going to be always right. So you should continue to challenge a woman. I would say it that way. Challenge a woman until she starts changing. If she don't change, and then you could, let her go and move on. I don't see nothing wrong with a man actually, I say defending, because to me, that's what it is. You could use whatever word you want. But having a quote unquote argument, there's different types of arguments. There's unrealistic arguments where a woman, I'm just going to use women, is just, having this tantrum in a way. And then you have an argument where it's just healthy, like a healthy debate, like how we kind of do on this panel sometimes. Because there's men on this panel who are, let's say you want to use the word emotional, defending themselves on this panel, but no one is saying that that's sassy, because it's not. But I don't understand like exactly what this lady's talking about in the video. I think
it's the way you say it. So you ever hear men who use female terminology, or they try to shade and they do stuff that looks very similar? That's why I said it. The best way you can think of is a queen. Just like when you look at homosexuals and you're looking at shows, you always can tell you have the regular gay guy, and then you have the one who is just like a woman. And he's like, yes, girl. Yeah. And what? Like, he's doing all this. So when we bring that to heterosexual men, if he's like, okay, I'm in your face, and he's sassy. Now you can be passionate about your point and get your point across. But I just think that when we're talking about argument, argument in general means there's no respect there, because you can have a conversation. So I get what you're saying. But sassy is really reserved. If you want the best definition, look at the community that invented the word to go with men and why women use it on heterosexual men, because they're displaying possibly, I'm not saying they don't shame, whatever, but they're displaying similar behavior to that community of men that they call sassy.